Michelle Kuria. She's the marketing manager of ESET. She's going to tell us how she balances her work and life. I know it's an old conversation, but this is the best way to have it.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Michelle Kuria. I'm currently the marketing manager at ESET East Africa, a global cybersecurity solutions provider and a proud innovator. I will be speaking to you today about how to maximize flexible working initiatives from my perspective. I begin with a quote from one of the most famous accomplished women, forever First Lady, and my namesake, Michelle Obama. Women are working more. Men are understanding their value as caregivers. Women are primary breadwinners. I mean, we could go on and on and on. Things are different. So we can't keep operating like everything is the same. And that's what many of us have done. And I think it's up to us to change the conversation. The initial rush to adapt to the COVID-19 outbreak resulted in a hasty short-term response to remote and flexible working. It also accelerated existing trends in remote work, e-commerce, and automation. In the last 20 months, the pandemic has led to a significant amount of the workforce working from home. Many employees have found themselves working more flexibly in terms of the hours or days that they work, often as a result of balancing work and other responsibilities, such as childcare and/or homeschooling. For the better part of last year, that was me. Homeschooling was a big part of my balance act with working from home. According to a 2020 survey by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, highly digitalized industries, including information and communication services, professional, scientific, and technical services, as well as financial services, achieved the highest rates of teleworking during the pandemic, over 50% of employees on average. Teleworking rates during the pandemic were higher among workers in larger firms than in smaller ones, reflecting the lower digital uptake among small firms and their specialization in activities less amenable to remote working. In most countries for which data is available, teleworking rates during the pandemic were much higher for women than for men. However, with the uptake of vaccines across the globe, employers and employees need to start rethinking their medium to long-term strategies surrounding flexible working arrangements. According to an IOD, Institute of Directors, October 2020 study, 74% of company directors have stated that their organization intends to increase home working from pre-pandemic levels as part of their approach to returning to work, and 43% intend to increase flexible working more widely through measures such as flexi-time, staggered hours, and compressed hours. So, what exactly is flexible working? According to the CIPD, flexible working is defined as working arrangements which allow employees to vary the amount, time, and location of their work, usually to the mutual benefit of the individual and the organization. Organizations need to be very careful not to conflate flexible working and home working. Remote to home working is just one form of flexible working, of which there are many, and the types of home working we have been experiencing recently is not the usual experience. We were actually all working at home. Remote working can involve you working at your favorite coffee shop, at a co-working space. It could even involve you going to work with someone else in another space in another county. But this time around, we were all stuck at home with the lockdowns and the curfew. So we really were just purely home working. And it's one of the forms of flexible working. So let's break down the types of flexible working initiatives. So first and foremost, as mentioned, there's the home working or remote working. Secondly, we have the staggered hours, where an employee gets to choose a block of time that they would like to report to the office. It could be, for example, someone could choose to come in from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., or someone could choose to come in from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It all varies with the individual and the structure of the organization. Then you also have the compressed hours, where someone can choose to work longer hours for a shorter work week. So, for example, put in longer hours for 4 days and then get a 3-day weekend. Again, varies with the organization. Then you have the adjusted shift hours, which is something that customer service, especially customer service industries and those involved in customer service, do employ from time to time. Business Solver's 2021 State of Workplace Empathy Study finds 92% of employees considered flexibility when it comes to schedules and deadlines as the second most highly empathetic behavior they valued from their employer during the pandemic. The biggest challenge, however, comes as companies face the tensions between preparing to return to previous routines, which means going back to the office full-time, and embracing this new reality that we're currently existing in, which is rethinking work through flexible working. Carly Williams-Yost, who is the go-to expert and strategist on workplace flexibility, said, telecommuting, one of many forms of work-life flexibility, should no longer be viewed as a nice-to-have optional perk for mostly working moms. These common stereotypes don't match reality. Allowing employees to work remotely is a core business strategy today. We need to deparent, degender, and de-age the perception of the flexible worker. In fact, a recent Harvard Business School online study showed that most professionals have excelled in their jobs while working from home, and 81% either don't want to go back to the office or would choose a hybrid schedule post-pandemic. It's important to recognize, however, that flexibility doesn't look the same. It's not a one size that definitely does not fit all. In April 2021, Fuzu, one of Africa's leading career platforms, published a future of work study surveying over 400 plus businesses and HR leaders from across 6 plus industries on the continent to get a clearer picture of how companies are adjusting to the new workplace. In fact, notable Kenyan companies that were surveyed for this future of work include Chloride, ESET, and Telkom. As of March 2021, 67% of survey respondents reported to be either fully or mostly back to the office. The highest return to work is, of course, manufacturing, and the lowest has proved to be the professional service firms. The return to work formula also varies with the operating models for the teams. So, for example, from this survey, you can see that the highest cases of remote work are legal services, business and organizational strategy, and IT and software development, of which I am a part of. However, for those who need to be in the office, it's mostly the admins and the clerical staff. At ESET, we have adopted a hybrid model across our global offices with local teams adjusting their operating models. We have adopted, at ESET East Africa, we have adopted a fully remote home working model. Our core business is cybersecurity, and as such, a robust cybersecurity policy based on the SIA triad is critical in ensuring and maximizing our flexible work model. SIA stands for confidentiality, integrity, and authenticity of data. Amongst the tools and resources provided for us to work comfortably from home include company laptops fully kitted with our ESET Internet Security, which provides encryption and endpoint protection for each employee, multi-factor authentication and VPN to access company networks such as emails, intranet, and company servers, internet stipends, use of VoIP for our office extensions, such that when you call our office line, you can be redirected to the various extensions and departments and speak who you need to speak to, as well as a variety of video conferencing tools, including Microsoft Teams, Zoom, and Zoho. We have also taken meetings very seriously at ESET. So we have bi-weekly, weekly, and monthly meetings, and I'll break into that. With our bi-weekly meetings, which we call stand-ups, these serve as top-level catch-ups on what everyone on the team is working on for that particular week. Then we have weekly management meetings, which serve as granular-level updates and reporting for project and organizational management. Then we have monthly global meetings for updates on global business objectives and where we're at. And then we also incorporated employee well-being activities, more specifically webinars focusing on mental health, success, performance, and work-life balance as we adapted to this shift. There's also a continuous encouragement to utilize our leave days as per contracts and flexibility in attending to non-work activities, provided we're still giving our outputs. Some of the challenges I have faced to home working include frequent power and internet interruptions, which do interfere with the quality and output of work. A quick example would be right now, as I was getting ready to record this webinar, I am a customer of Zuku who sometimes can really stretch the limit when it comes to what they deliver. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to connect effectively, but I gladly managed. And here I am giving you this presentation. But the internet interruptions have, of course, been a major cause of concern for me, as it has interfered with my quality and output of work. A key component of my job, I'm a marketer, is bouncing off ideas on the fly with my colleagues. Now, when we're in the office, I would think of something, or maybe an idea for a campaign, and I would walk up to one of my colleagues at their desk and I'd tell them, okay, I'm thinking of A, B, C, D. What are your thoughts? Do you think this is something that could work? Just the normal chit-chat brainstorm that you have with your colleagues. However, with working from home, that interaction is kind of lost, the human touch of it, the social interaction. And so sometimes I'll have that moment where I'll have a spark or an idea, And by the time I get on Teams or I get on Zoom or I pick up the phone call, my train of thought has kind of lost. So it has slightly interfered with my creative process, but it also made me think more about how I should be writing down my ideas. So it's really encouraged me to note down my ideas rather than just bouncing them off my head and then figuring it out as I go along. Another thing I've found myself on occasion, especially last year with the immediate switch from work, from going to the office to work from home, I found myself working longer in the office. I would always be tempted to respond to that email or make that call or complete that report or just open my laptop and be like, just quick, I'll send the email. It could be a Saturday, it could be a Friday or a Thursday evening at like 6 o'clock. And so I had to learn how to make that switch now that it's become permanent for us, to make that switch from I don't have to be always on, but there is indeed a balance between home and work. One of the key projects that I worked on and was quite a struggle it was quite a struggle to implement was because for us as a company to rise up to the demands of a changed working environment and increased demand for cybersecurity solutions last year, we redesigned our various product bundles and moved to a cloud-first approach. It was my major project involving communications and trainings with partners and clients remotely. And as such, everything had to be carried out online. It was a bit of a challenge because when it comes to communication, the face-to-face communication aids in ensuring that the message is passed along well, even in terms of conducting the trainings. So it was a challenge, but we were able to overcome. We were able to run our trainings. We were able to educate our customers. But it was still a bit of a challenge doing it online because that face-to-face, again, that social interaction was missing. According to Fuzu's future of work study, my challenges aren't synonymous to me, and majority are still struggling with a poor work environment and communication as a result of various issues. One thing you'll notice is internet connectivity at home is one of the biggest challenges. 67% of respondents said that was their biggest work challenge. Communication was also 27% was communication with coworkers. And while I think these challenges are they do affect us, I do think, however, that the pros of flexible working far outweigh the cons. A Grant Thornton Women in Business 2021 research has shown flexible working to be high on the agenda for businesses looking to promote more women into senior management. And it is the fourth most common action taken to increase gender parity in 2021. Fiona Hathon, CEO of Women on Boards UK, said, flexible working has a huge potential to enhance diversity and inclusion, but it will be the leadership styles and the systems that support it which count. Still from the Fuzu Future of Work study, you can see these three pies that showed three different operating models: those who are fully 100% remote, those who are currently in a hybrid model, and those who are mostly in the office. As you can see, the common denominator seems to be a preference for back to the office, but back to the office with a mix of still remote working. So 1 to 2 days, 3 to 4 days a week, but they still have at least 1 day where they're working from home. For me, the benefits and what I would say what we've maximized on for our flexible working initiatives has to be a culture of trust. This is number one on our list. It has promoted a greater culture of trust between my directors, my colleagues, and I, where we each trust each other to deliver on their deliverables. We're all not sitting in an office. We're all not going to check up on each other or to see where someone is at with that project. It's up to you to meet your colleague or to meet your director at their point of need and at their point of deliverable. So it has greatly enhanced the culture of trust that we have within our organization. Balancing work and home responsibilities. As a mother of two, it has made me a better parent. Before the pandemic, I was out of the house before my children woke up and back when they were done with their day. I'm now more involved in their day-to-day activities. One of my favorite things to do with my kids nowadays is the time I would spend commuting to the office is what now I spend taking them to school and picking them up from school. Doing homework together. CBC parents, if you're here, you know what I am talking about. We are back to school as well. Better time management. For me, creating a routine that was consistent with how it used to be pre-pandemic, but rather knowing that I'm operating from my home. So I have my morning routine and then I come into the office. My working hours are 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and to respect that those are my working hours, to take my lunch break when I am to take my lunch break. I'm able to complete my tasks in a shorter time. I think when you're working from home, you're able to get less distracted from me. I think that's one thing I can look at. My children are in school, so it's just me, my computer, and I'm able to put in the work that I need to do. So I'm able to complete my tasks on a shorter time. I work on what I need to do. I'm able to work on my non-work routines, and I'm also able to adapt to life's emergencies. And when they arise, and notably hospital visits again because of the children, a phone call comes in and I'm able to dash pick up one of my children, take them to hospital, get them treated. So it's helped my time management, and that I'm glad about that. Upskilling is also one of the benefits. I've been able to enroll in short courses to develop my professional and interpersonal skills on platforms like Coursera. I've taken advantage of their free courses. Again, my commute used to be about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours to the office going, and another hour and a half and another 2 hours coming back home. So those are 4 hours, almost 3-4 hours of my day that I've been able to dedicate to other things that I could do to better myself. All in all, flexible working has made me an agile worker. It has made me appreciate time and planning as a construct better for me, for my professional life, and for my personal life. There's a wide range of research and a strong evidence base for how flexibility can support inclusion, help to reduce the gender pay gap, support sustainability initiatives, attract and retain talented individuals, increase productivity, and support well-being. My story, in its own essence, does concur with the research that's already available. Flexible working has the potential to bring significant benefits to organizations and their employees. It can both support the return to the workplace on a practical level, help employees to cope with the ongoing issues relating to the pandemic, and to help maintain hygiene and social distancing, whilst the virus still presents a considerable risk with the variants in the waves that keep coming up. Thank you all for your time, and I look forward to engaging with all of you more.